Okay, we're going to go ahead and get started. Thank you all for joining today. I've started recording the session as well. At this point, all the lines are muted. As we get to the Q&A portion later on, please feel free to unmute yourself, or you can also drop your questions or thoughts in the chat throughout the call if you don't want to forget your thoughts, or if you have trouble coming off of mute, that works as well. So thank you for joining. As always, we like to give an overview of BDPA and some context around the platform, and then we'll get into our content for today. I am Devin Jenkins. I lead the BDPA Tech and Career Talks. I work at GE Healthcare as a senior technical product manager in our supply chain digital organization here in Milwaukee, Wisconsin. And BDPA is an organization that's been around since 1965, focused on developing computer skills in our youth, as well as providing a forum for IT professionals to network and continue to develop and grow in their careers. A big staple of BDPA is the National Conference and Career Fair. It takes place each year, and this year is different as with everything that's going on in the world. We know we're living in a new normal, if you will, so this year's conference will be virtual. So we thought it was a great opportunity to bring in some of our leadership to talk through what you can expect and kind of get you prepared for that conference experience this year. So we're glad to have Terry Morris, our National BDPA President, today here with us to share some context around the conference and why it is important and why the organization decided to move forward with it despite these times. And then we have Gina Christopher, who is our National Conference Experience Director, who will talk through some of the diversity of the experiences you can expect. And then we'll go a little bit deeper there and open up for questions as we get later into the call. So at this point, Terry, I'm going to turn it over to you to give some context around the conference and why this is important.
Well, very good. Thank you, Devin. And first of all, I'd like to thank you for continuing to do an excellent job with this platform. Here a few years ago when I became the president, I really felt like we needed to have more persistent opportunities to engage across the country and, for that matter, the world. And I thought that increasing the velocity and of dialogue and exposure to rich content around tech and as well as career development would be the mechanism to achieve that outcome. And having a platform like what that we call BDPA Career and Tech Talk to drive that out. And you took what we had and have made it better. So thank you for leaning in to this opportunity and really helping us to deliver rich experiences every other week. BDPA has held a conference 42 times. 41 of those have been physical conferences in many of the metropolitan areas around the country. Last year's conference was in Atlanta, Georgia. Had a great experience in Atlanta. Rich content, rich experiences, great relationships and networking, all of the things that make BDPA's technology conference worth attending, and what actually allured me to BDPA, in fact. So we decided actually to double down on Atlanta and start to build an East Coast tech experience, and signed a 3-year agreement with the hotel in Atlanta, Weston. And so we were excited about that, really ramping up energy to enable that. And of course, as COVID-19 began to rear its ugly head, we began to look at what are our alternatives. The reason why I say it like that is that we, or at least I'll say me and the lion's share of our leadership, never considered canceling the conference because we feel like what BDPA does and the vehicles that are in place to enable it are essential for the constituents that we serve. that we don't think that we have a pass on providing the value that we enable. It was never an option in my mind to cancel. The question was really about what is the alternative mechanism if we can't have a physical conference to achieve this possibility. And in May, we officially made the decision, and our national board of directors voted to support a virtual conference. And then, so you say, hey, let's do this thing virtually. And then the question is, how do you achieve a virtual experience that is positively received by sponsors and participants? And so we began to explore the market for technical solutions to achieve this possibility. In the market surfaced really two key platforms that provide an enhanced virtual experience, and we were fortunate because I'm sure everyone is aware that back in May, everybody was trying to figure out a virtual experience. Zoom was probably making more money back in earlier this year than they ever imagined, and let's just say that their registers haven't stopped ringing. But we wanted to do more than just have a site and put a bunch of Zoom links out there and say manage it yourself, and which is why we pursued a company called SixConnect, and they are an enterprise scale virtual experience platform, and we were fortunate. We had another vendor secure it, and they actually canceled on us. But we reached out to SixConnect. They were gracious enough because I believe they cared about who we are and what we were trying to do, and were willing to slot us into their schedule without a whole lot of lead time. So a great team of us have been working to solidify that experience. I'll tell you now that the unique thing about virtual is that we've been able to secure people that we would otherwise have challenges because of their travel schedules and other logistical challenges. Well, in many cases, we're looking for an hour from very senior leaders across the tech landscape. And I can tell you personally, I have rarely gotten a no. And this is the third conference that I've been a part of and where we got no's more frequently in other contexts. So I am just excited about this year's BDPA National Technology Conference and Diversity Career Fair. And I hope after you learn more, you will share with me in the excitement about what is to come, what you will walk away learning, and what you have grown from, and who you would have had an opportunity to interact with. And I encourage you to lean in, clear your schedule, make time for this, and know that, commit to yourself. I'll say this, and then you can move forward. Commit to yourself to a plan when you walk away from this conference to translate into your personal, a roadmap to fulfilling your next level of potential, because that's the level of content and the experiences that we put before you here in yet 2 weeks. So looking forward to it. Happy to have the chat today and answer any of your questions.
Thanks, Terry. So with that, I'm going to do a quick introduction of Gina. And then we will let Gina get into some of the conference experiences that we can expect. So Gina Christopher is a digital strategy leader with 10 plus years of IT experience across the pharmaceutical and professional services industries. Her current role is Business Solutions Manager at Deloitte. Gina leads a team of BSAs as they focus on transforming the global intranet experience by leveraging AI and other technologies. Gina's recent accomplishments include creating a framework focused on revolutionizing the IT customer relationship and centering delivery around customer-centric performance metrics. The portfolio is forecasted to significantly improve experiences for 200,000 plus users across 4 global solutions. She attended Indiana University, where she graduated cum laude with a BS from the Luddy School of Informatics, Computing, and Engineering, with a double minor in business from Kelly in Spanish. She is also PMP, CBAP, and ITIL B3 Foundation certified. Gina believes in embodying and inspiring excellence. She strives to do so daily, drawing inspiration from her family and acts of service for her church, which is the Greater Grace Church, and BDPA, where, as I stated earlier, she is the National Conference Experience Director. So Gina, at this time, I will turn it over to you so you can give us a little bit more information around the conference experiences that we can expect.
All right. Thank you, Devin. Can everyone hear me okay?
Yep.
All right. Thank you for confirming that. So I would like to also start by thanking you, Devin, for inviting me to be here today to talk to this group about the 42nd Annual BDPA Technology Conference. I'd also like to thank Terry as our National BDPA President for providing the opportunity to be the National Conference Experience Director. It has truly been exciting to work with a group of individuals that have selflessly volunteered to make sure that this experience will be one of a kind. So speaking of the experience, I'd like to take you through a little bit of the website and talk about some of the different experiences that will be offered this year. So on the conference website, not only can you see the different schedules that are available, we've also called out some of these specialized experiences. So I'm going to dive into 3 of those experiences that stand out to me, and then, as Devin mentioned, we're going to dive into a little bit more of those details later on during the latter portion of today's call. So the HBCU Collider event really stands out to me because I had not known about this SBIR, STTR program, which essentially provides small businesses with opportunities to be awarded contracts where they could directly work for the Air Force for specific proposals and to be awarded these contracts that can range in scale from thousands to millions. So that's life-changing right there. And BDPA has the opportunity to put on an all-day event on Friday that focuses on allowing for historically Black colleges and universities as well as MSIs to participate in this event and to learn more about this programming and to overall be able to take away the impact that it will provide to so many. So this event really stands out to me. It'll be taking place all day on Friday of the conference. I definitely encourage you to check it out to learn more about this program. Even if you're not a small business owner, I'm sure someone in your network is, and so you can definitely share that knowledge and perhaps change a life. The other event that I like to step into is the HBCU Hackathon event. So this event stands out to me simply because not only will we have HBCU department chairs joining together with HBCU alums and honing in on some specific statements or prompts that will allow for us to innovate. And so they'll be focusing on things such as how can computer science departments within HBCUs continue to bring innovation to their students. They'll be focusing on digital transformation and what does that look like from a HBCU perspective and beyond. They'll also be focusing on how can we bring BDPA chapters to HBCUs? What does that look like? What are some of the use cases that are already in place, and how can we continue to expand the reach of BDPA? And I also want to extend a small reminder about the pitch competition. So the pitch competition is still going live now. So if you are a small business owner or if you know of any small business owners, I'd encourage you to come and visit the BDPA2020.com website. Take a look at the specifics around eligibility, and then if you or anyone in your network is eligible, you still have time to submit your pitch. The deadline is Monday, So make sure that you check out this page. There's an opportunity to win up to $2,500 to be able to have seed money towards a product or service of your choice. So those are just 3 of the different experiences that I would like to highlight as a part of my overview of the conference. But I also want to bring your attention to one last thing before we transition. What stands out to me for this conference is this visual. I don't know how many of you have taken the time to really take in the number of people who will be joining this conference and contributing in kind so that we all can be enriched with the education as well as the experiences that they've all lived through, and how we can glean from those experiences to broaden our understanding of the IT landscape as well as to advance our trajectory. I'm looking at CEOs, CIOs, billionaires, presidents of universities. I mean, you name it. And Terry mentioned this earlier in the call, but this is a dynamic lineup of speakers. I cannot express enough how excited I am to be able to see these speakers live, and I'm definitely going to try to join as many of the sessions as possible so that I can learn more from these speakers. So with that, Devin, we can transition over to the next segment of today's call.
Great. Thank you, Gina. So at this point, we wanted to go into a little Q&A portion with Gina and Terry. So I have a few questions here that I would like to ask them, and then we will open up for Q&A from the rest of y'all. As a reminder, if anything comes to your mind before we open up for Q&A to everyone, please use the chat to drop those so you don't forget your thoughts, and then we will circle back to them afterwards. So Gina and Terry, a question for both of you, just to kind of get us going here. What part of the conference are you most excited for?
Well, it's hard to answer that question. I know that's the wrong answer because there is intentionality behind every experience that has been created for you all. For us, we are two in IT. And are seeking to advance our careers as well. I will highlight one that I think is particularly noteworthy. We have the co-founder of UK Black Tech. His name is Mark Martin. I think some of you who've been calling in to our sessions had the opportunity to experience him earlier this year to give a talk here on this platform. But I tell you, what they are emphasizing in the UK through UK Black Tech, and it's about 5,000 of them in that organization, their emphasis is on innovation and how might Black technology technology be the solution, be a part of answering the challenge from the front, not just the back. And so there will be some rich discussions around innovation and solutioning, and in some cases entrepreneurship. And so he will be a part of that dialogue around entrepreneurship. So, while I am excited about every part of the experience, that is a unique opportunity for us to really talk about innovation across the pond, and we'll probably find a lot of parallels with the experiences here and begin to see some opportunities to play and think more broadly.
Yeah, when I think about BDPA, I think about how what BDPA represents. BDPA represents, it is a champion for the next generation of STEM leaders. And so the fact that the conference is now virtual allows for additional access, additional exposure. And being that I've been a part of the conference planning experience, or the planning team and the efforts, I've been able to see firsthand how there's been so much, as Terry mentioned, intentionality behind making sure that we understand the typical attendee experience. We took a look at entrepreneurs. We took a look at whether you are entry-level, middle management, or your trajectory is more senior. We looked at all of that, and that was designed into the conference experience. So regardless of wherever you are in your trajectory or as a business owner, we took a look at that and designed the experiences to be tailored to that. And so that's what I'm most looking forward to, is allowing for people to take advantage of the different experiences, the different educational tracks that we have, the career success experiences, the digital transformation track, the entrepreneurship success track, and then, as I mentioned before, the HBCU hackathon, to be able to navigate across the different experiences and to tailor it towards your optimal needs is what I'm looking forward to the most.
So kind of building off of that, both of you kind of spoke to how going virtual has made the conference more accessible, has made a wider range of speakers more accessible. That we have Mark Martin from the UK presenting, which would have been more of a challenge trying to get him, over here this year. So how do you anticipate the diversity of the audience this year to look in comparison to past conferences with this expanded accessibility?
Well, that's an excellent point. One thing I didn't mention earlier that's worth highlighting is that we really sought to minimize the burden for participation because we're virtual. Acknowledging that we don't have a significant hotel expense, we of course translated that reduction to our to those who would participate with us. So to attend the conference is only $150 for adult professionals and $50 for students. So getting a ton of value for a significant reduction in the cost. So the experience this year can ultimately translate into whatever you want it to. If you lean in and take advantage of all of the folks that are around you and connect with them on LinkedIn and or leverage the chat. I don't know if we are going to be showing any of the platform on this call or not, so I won't steal the thunder if that's not what we have already planned to do. But I'll say that the platform that we've chosen provides mechanisms for you to engage with the participants there. But then there are also mechanisms for you to choose to engage with them independently through LinkedIn and otherwise. So this virtual enablement has really leveled the playing field so that we can all interact with whomever we want to. And for those who may be a little bit more introverted, that you may not mind typing, but you may have a little bit more hesitancy on talking. Well, hey, typing is very much available to you through the capabilities here, but notwithstanding our ability to leverage the Zoom for a lot of the conferences. So, virtual has really normalized the experience for everyone, and has created a reach across cultures and communities. And I'm anticipating that this year might very well be the most diverse conference that we've had, at least in the 10 years of my conference going, because this year, especially with the heightened engagement and awareness for social justice and people wanting to look for ways they can help solve challenges and create more diverse and inclusive workplaces. For those in tech, BDPA's conference experience is one of the best places to lean into that possibility, and that's what I anticipate yet this year.
Yeah, so I think Terry hit on some of the high points in terms of the access broadening this year due to it being virtual. And Terry also touched on the fact that we have the UK Black in Tech owner who's going to be a part of the experience as well. So I can imagine that there is going to be a UK contingent that will be part of this conference experience, as well as some of the other geographies. So I definitely think that the diversity of this year's conference will be different than what we've seen in past years. And I'm one that I speak things in existence. So I'm saying right now that we will definitely see record attendance, and we'll definitely see a diversity of members. So take advantage of this opportunity. Make sure that you have registered if you've not. Definitely high value that will be derived out of this year's conference and the amount of people that you'll be able to connect with.
That's great. And you know, you both brought up some good points about this being the most diverse audience we will likely see, and just kind of how this is so different from those years past. So taking that into account, and you know, with the hopefulness that we get back to a point where we can convene in person like we would normally do, how do you foresee this year's conference influencing the strategy for future conferences?
Well, you know, it's hard to imagine going back to just a physical conference when we're able to, because of all of the value that that we're seeing coming out of this experience. So it will be an and. Now we have to work out the mechanics of to facilitate the and. You know, so yes, we'll have the physical conference as soon as we are able to have a physical conference. I can't imagine not still doing that. And you know, leveraging the value that we get from physical engagement. However, you know, I can't imagine not also creating an option where everyone else who can't travel and maybe the financial burden is higher, where we don't still allow for a mechanism like this. I mean, I'll just tell you a quick story. Last year, the conference experience director was Chandria Seaton. And she, for many of the sessions that she was in, she would go Facebook Live on her personal Facebook page, and so she was getting, you know, dozens of people watching the sessions that she was broadcasting from her phone. And when I saw that, I'm like, well, that's a no-brainer. We need to find a way to do that for the for next year's conference. And so I was committed to extending our experiences using some mechanism, but I hadn't quite figured that out yet. And then necessity brought about that need. So I you know, it worked itself out. So I imagine that going forward there will be, you know, a virtual option for engaging with our conference. The preferred for most would be in person, but virtual would be yet a secondary option.
Okay, Gina, any thoughts from you around how this year's conference influences future strategy?
I think Terry pretty well covered that aspect. One thing that I'll chime in and say is that I for sure would like to see us keep the momentum going of the virtual aspect of the conference, which it sounds like we will, just because of as we both talked about, the access that it is providing. People who typically could not travel to a physical location to participate in this conference now have the opportunity to do so. And I just think about my young boys, right? They're very STEM inclined, and the fact that they'll have access to this conference virtually is got me so excited. I'm losing my words. So I definitely look forward to us, continuing the momentum in which we've started.
Great, and I just have two more questions, and then I want to open it up to everyone on the line. I do see we have one question in the chat already, so thank you for putting that there, Kai. So one of the last two questions, I mean, we've been speaking on it the full time, but I would like to hear it from you in a more focused and concise manner. But aside from being virtual, maybe what's the one thing or one to three things you would say that separates this year's conference from those in the past?
It is my desire that in principle, that the experiences are very similar. Now, the content, I will say, is different this year in that we have some signature events like the HBCU Hackathon that Gina spoke about earlier, as well as the HBCU Collider event with the Air Force and the pitch competition. So, over the years we've had some of these experiences, but we haven't had all of them at the same time. And we haven't talked about it a lot. Gina was alluding to it here a minute ago. In parallel to the adult experiences, there are a rich set of youth experiences for college students and our young people. I too have two little ones, one very little, 17 weeks, and but a 14-year-old daughter, and she's putting the finishing touches on a mobile app that she's creating in preparation for this year's conference. So, this year is truly the embodiment of our advancing careers from the classroom to the boardroom, and that will be on display in mass across all of the experiences that we're creating. So there's a lot that is the same, but there are significant parts that are different, and which is the neutralizer for this year.
Yeah, the only thing I would add to that, Devin, and the rest on this call is that the intentionality that we mentioned at the very beginning. So there was a lot of analysis done to determine the typical conference goer experience and how we could amplify that this year with specialized experiences and tracks, educational tracks, that would be beneficial to professionals and students alike. And so I see that all throughout the conference schedule. So as you go out to the BDPA 2020 website and take a look, you'll see that there's an experience for you. In fact, you can map out the desired experiences that you would like to have. And I'm sure that you'll be able to not only to take something back to your professional environment, but you'll also be able to take it forward and pay it forward. So I would say that's one of the things that I've seen as a part of this year's conference that will set it apart.
And that's a great segue into the last question I had here. We have a number of different personas, if you will, for people who attend the conference. You've spoken on students, you've spoken on corporate professionals, entrepreneurs, those just interested in IT. How can someone, considering these different personas, best prepare to have the most valuable experience possible during the conference?
I'll take this one first. I know we were going in a pattern there. So I feel like the best way for people to capitalize on this year's conference, a lot of which has already been said. Number one, be intentional about going out to the conference website, taking that first step and registering. And after you've registered, think about, out of all the different experiences that you can partake in, which are the ones that are going to be the ones that are most befitting to your career goals, your professional goals. And so I would say start with your goals. Think about what it is that you want to get out of this conference, and then map out a strategy. I know it sounds pretty rigid, but there's always room for some artistic liberties in there, right? You get in a conference, you decide that you want to do something different, that's absolutely fine. But I think being very intentional about what experiences that you want to be a part of, who you want to connect with more intimately. As mentioned, we have billionaires, we have, C-suite leaders, we have executive leaders, we have it all. We have the who's who in technology, who's who in STEM, who's who in academia. So being intentional about that, mapping out your game plan and following through is definitely the best way to get the most out of this year's conference.
Well, I don't know if it's fair to say ditto, but I'm going to be unfair and say ditto. I don't know. I can't add to what Gina just expressed. So, amen.
Well, that works. So we'll kick off the open Q&A for the call today with a question from Kai. And Kai, if you're still out there and able to unmute yourself, feel free to ask your question yourself. I see you in the call. Kai, you want to unmute and ask your question? Okay, you may be having some challenges there, so I'll just ask it for you, and then feel free to come in if you're able to get unmuted shortly. So Kai asked, will I get a confirmation that my pitch competition application email was received?
So yes, she should get a confirmation message, and I can work with the individuals who are managing that just to make sure that I'm not telling you anything incorrect.
Okay. All right. Hopefully that helps you out, Kai. All right. She said got it. All right. What other questions do we have? And feel free to unmute yourself or put it in the chat.
And Devin, while the questions are being contemplated, I do want to acknowledge the team that is working on this behind the scenes. BDPA is 99.9% volunteer, but it is a labor of love and passion. It is people who care about diversity and technology and helping people to reach their full potential. And they have poured a lot of their time into the experiences that are being put before you today. So I know that I am just grateful to have good people, great capabilities who are applying them in this space, and I'm certain that the participants will not even know that it was volunteers because the high quality of contributions that have gone forward to pull this off. I would also like to highlight the fact that we have intentionally sought to go after our HBCU community, recognizing that they are the largest, producers of Black tech and STEM talent. So we aren't intending to be exclusive. However, we are seeking to be intentional about that where might our energy translate into value, exponential value, in fact. So we have a number of partnerships. You will see a lot of students from various institutions, some of them HBCUs, some of them predominantly Black institutions. I think Georgia State, through a partnership with the Atlanta chapter BDPA, will have I think up to 100 students, if not beyond. I see Victor Montgomery on the call from the Atlanta chapter for BDPA. So Victor has helped secure some partnerships to create options for that number of students. Florida A&M will have up to 40 to 50 students and faculty participating. I got a message from Hampton University's computing chair. They'll have some students participating. So I guess the short version is that this experience this year will be steeped in experiences for all, but we have new partnerships that we're doubling down on, like with our HBCUs, and you will see many of those students engaging around this. And unlike in the physical where you see someone, you just go grab them and have a chat with them and can be a stranger. But we hope that those experiences still happen, but leveraging the digital capabilities to facilitate that.
Thanks for sharing that perspective, Terry.
Sure.
Okay, and do we have any questions on the line? And I can also unmute everyone's line if people are having challenges unmuting. All right, let me do that real quick just to be sure. Okay, everyone is unmuted now, so if you have a question, feel free to ask it, and if you don't, please mute yourself.
Hi, this is Susan. I have a question.
Let me see. That's the 703 number who has a question. Okay. Let me. I'm going to unmute everyone, and then I'll mute everyone again. Then I will unmute you. Was that Kai who had a question, or was that the 703 number?
Okay. Hold on.
Hi, this is Susan. I have a
Okay, someone had a question. If you can unmute, then you can move forward with your question. I know someone had something. I think was having technical difficulties getting them heard.
And those like Lisa, we went to a gift shop, and that was it.
Okay. Well, I do see a few comments here in the chat. So Victor did say no questions, but he is really looking forward to the experience. And then Gina, it looks like you wanted to give some acknowledgments here. You wanted to say something about the conference team?
Yeah, so Terry mentioned it, that there's a team of individuals that have helped to make this experience what it will be. And I tried my best to name them, but I ran out of character count and time. So if there are I'm sure there's individuals I missed, because there's a number of people who are powering the experience that you are going to have here in a few weeks. So I just wanted to call them out and acknowledge them. I know Deja was on the line before, Joe was on the line before, or that he's still on the line, and you can see the other individuals in the chat. So I just wanted to underscore that this is for sure a team effort, and it wouldn't be the ability to have had this conference pivot so quickly from an in-person experience to the first time being virtual ever without this team. So I want to thank them here on this call, and just say that you all can continue to thank them by joining the conference and giving us your feedback.
Thank you for that, Gina. And I want to give it one more opportunity, because I know somebody said they had a question. We just weren't able to hear them.
Hi, can you hear me now?
Yep.
Oh, good afternoon. This is Sam Nixon, member of BDPA. Greetings to you.
How you doing, Sam?
I'm doing well, Thank you all for sharing the information about the conference. I had a question in reference to, since we do a lot of work with HBCUs, I was going to see how I might follow up a little bit later on with you with some more details about the HBCU activities that you all were noting earlier, and if there is additional information beyond what's on the website about it, who I might speak with about that. We work with about 43 HBCUs here in the Virginia area, and so I wanted to, and as a BDPA member, I had some questions I wanted to check with for more detail about the planning for that.
So this is Terry. What I would say, I put my email address in the chat area. Feel free to reach out to me. I've been driving a lot of the engagement with the HBCUs, and we have a college advisory board for BDPA, and several HBCU computing chair persons are part of that advisory board. So, and they've been really kind of the steering committee for our actions in this space. So, let's chat. Send me a message when you get a chance, and we can get on the horn and talk it out.
Okay, is this the Perry from the D.C. area or another Perry?
No, this is actually Terry from Perry, Florida.
Oh, I'm sorry, Terry. Okay, all right. We have a Perry in this area, so that's how it's connected.
Oh, no, you're good. Yeah. I think Terry was on the call earlier, but I don't know if he's still there or not. But, okay. Yeah, I put my email address in the chat area. It's terry.morris@bdpa.org. But we'd love to chat with you.
Well, let me do this. If I'm on a phone, I'm not actually on the chat because I'm moving around. I'm on the cell, so I don't have the chat. I'm not tied in through the Zoom part. So okay. Is there a way I can either phone or email? I can be in touch with you.
So my email address is terry.morris.
Terry.Morris,
Morris,
okay.
@bdpa.org.
Okay then. All right. I'll email you then and follow up with that. Thank you very much.
Sounds
like an exciting conference there. Looking forward to it.
Absolutely. Thank you.
All right. Blessings to you. Take care.
Hey, Devin, are you still there?
Sorry, I was on mute the whole time. So I just wanted to say that the BDPA leadership team's contact information is on the website, if I remember correctly. It is on bdpa.org, so you can see the whole leadership team's email addresses there. So in case anyone forgets, you can go to the website and see it there as well for additional reference. Okay, is there anything from anyone else on the line? Don't want to overlook anyone. Okay, well, it looks like all hearts and minds are clear. So again, want to thank Terry and Gina for sharing with us today, giving us just a taste of what to expect in the conference experience coming up here in about 2 weeks. So, yeah, I think we're 2 weeks away now. We're just under 2 weeks, so August 20th through the 22nd. Remember, go to BDPA2020.com if you haven't already to register, as well as learn more about the conference and see the speakers. We look forward to a great experience here in about 2 weeks. Terry, Gina, any closing comments from you all?
Well, I'll just say that we are excited And the only way to top my excitement is for each of you to choose to register and join us. So, so we look forward to engaging with each of you in the cloud.
Hi, Terry. This is Beverly. I got a quick question. Sorry for being so late.
Yes.
Do you need to register to participate in the career fair?
Thank you, Beverly. That's a great question. And no, you do not. The career fair is free to all. You do have to register to go to the career fair, but you don't have to pay to attend the career fair. And I think that there is there's a link on the BDPA2020.com to guide you.
Okay, thank you.
No problem.
I see something in the chat as well. Okay. All right, Gina, I'll let you close us out with the 6 Connect lobby. Let me make you presenter again.
Yeah, we're just going to spend the last 5 minutes giving you a sneak preview of the lobby. We're not going to give you too much because we want you to register for the conference to get the full experience. We'll dive in for the next 5 minutes and then close us out strongly. All right, so this is the lobby that we have set up to date. And as you can see, it's sure to be an immersive experience where you'll be able to quickly identify where you want to go within the conference. You'll be able to visit the auditorium and to see the different tracks that are available, and also to participate in the awards gala at the very end. And then we also have a speaker book showcase. Some of our speakers have books that they have written, and we want you to be able to have access to that. So again, we look forward to you joining the conference and being able to see more.
So, hope you all enjoyed your sneak preview of what you can expect in the conference here in a few weeks from the platform itself, just to the breadth of experiences that we have and the diversity of speakers as well as the diversity of the audience that's expected. So as always, thank you all for joining. Have a great weekend until we meet again. See you all at the conference, and then we will resume the Tech and Career Talks in September. The next one is September 11th, I believe, that second Friday, and we will have Edward Smith, who is I would say, an unsung hero, a pioneer in the technology space. So definitely will be a tech talk you don't want to miss. So look forward to seeing you all again at the conference and then again in September for our next Tech and Career Talk. Thank you.